as we move around Miniatur Wonderland, on the fence there are little tags, and these are in German and English, although I've only photographed the English side, which explain what you're looking at. Also, attached to the layout, there are little boxes with buttons on them, and these are used to activate a special type of animation. You'll be seeing both of these in action as we go around this layout. On entering into the Scandinavia area, the first thing you spot is the ships moving. But again, we're not going to look at the broad picture of Scandinavia and the United States. We're going to look at the detail. So let's move on. Now, as we move into Denmark, we're seeing a few of the buildings and typical sites of Denmark, but it's all the little details that you've got to look at. There's a lot of beachside operations. The Danes seem to be put out as being more of people who go out to the beach and out to enjoy the exterior. This station is probably the main station that you have in Denmark, but it's the details at the front of the layout that are the most interesting and the ones that they are highlighting. The water basin is just so clear, the water is kept very clear. But the really interesting thing in this area is all of the below water level details. There's all sorts of little details underneath the water. We now move into the main town in the Norway section of the layout. Again, it's a substantial station, and of course there's always the trains moving through it. We now move across to Sweden, and they've depicted a bit of Lapland there, and then the Swedish area, all in snow. And there's all this lovely little detail that you can see. You could actually spend quite a bit of time looking at each of these little scenes. Very interesting. And then around the station, there is just so much detail to be seen. Quite fascinating. This ore mine also has a lot of animation in the different parts of the buildings. But unfortunately I couldn't quite get close enough to see a lot of it because there's lots of kids there looking at it, wanting to push the buttons. But I did get to see the underground area. We now move into the USA area. We start off on the east coast of Florida with the Everglades, Key West, and Miami Beach. And of course we're in Florida. We've got to see Cape Canaveral and the launch of the space shuttle. Then we jump across the country. We're into Vegas. And the model looks interesting there in the daylight. But at night, it really looks fantastic. And of course there's all sorts of trains running around. Have a look at this train moving across the front of the layout. Some trucks on the back of flat cars. And they're being pushed into a siding. and then the trucks roll off those cars and onto the road. And there you can see one of the trucks now moving through Vegas. They say the area is like Grand Canyon, Bryce Canyon. I felt it was much more like Zion Canyon, as well as the Grand Canyon. And I know the Grand Canyon doesn't have a trestle bridge across it, but in Miniatur Wonderland it does. But the detail, you've got a raft going down the river, supposedly the Colorado River. It's quite interesting. And then the little Indian settlement that's on the cliffs that does exist in Grand Canyon. And now we're moving out of the canyon land and into a very interesting little scene from Route 66. And then we're in Area 51. And all of the interaction with the aliens. And there we've got Kit running down the road, just in front. And then we're back to the horse-drawn area of the western area. And a little gold panning area. You can see just that detail. It's just quite, there's a lot to take in and you really need to examine it. And this flume for the logs to come down to the port. And there's a western town. There is a tourist attraction. And again, there's all sorts of real little detail in there. And another nighttime event is Christmas Village. They really make a big splash. And finally, we've got one of their Miniatur Wonderland special trains. All sorts of characters going on the beach.